Hello, good evening, and welcome to the open mic hour. Where are we going? The open mic hour. Again, sorry about the intro. You know what me and technology is like. How's everyone's week? How's everyone doing? What have you been up to? Just looking for the comments. Here we go. How's everyone doing? Right, we're up to speed. We're getting there now. Right, who have we got along with us? Good evening, yeah. Right, Thursday, and we're nearly at the end of May already. Where's the time gone? Who's been out where? Who's been catching up and getting out and about and doing some little walkabouts and investigations? Let me know what you've been up to this week. Right, the topic I've got for tonight is good evening, Rachel. I've strung our Rachel in there. How are you doing, Rachel? How's things? How are you got over your paranormal hangover? Yes, that's right. And what an investigation it was. Obviously, secret location, as you know, so we won't mention where we went to or anything like that, Rachel. We did get out and about, and we had a very, very good time as well. And we had some amazing stuff after the investigation come across. And all right, you're making an Ouija board. That's fantastic. We had some amazing evidence as well on the night, and especially a lot of noises as well that came through on this investigation last Saturday night. And you could hear a lot of chatting, a lot of like noises if they were quite high above as well in the location, and you could feel the presence in the corridors and well, basically in the other room. You just felt like there was a lot of people running up and down. I'm going to go on to the topic that we are going to talk about, red wine hangover. That was from the Friday night for you, Rachel, I do believe. Any questions, just fire away, ask in. Good evening, Ricky. Ricky, you can type down and type into your, if you want to type up your team and also as well, and we'll be doing an hour's live feed as well in a few weeks time, so really looking forward to that and catching up with everybody there. And again, as you know, we always help people along and push them in the right direction, being wherever they're up to, new to the field or experienced teams as well. We always like to help and nurture them, point people in the right direction. Again, open mic hour, what's it all about tonight? Well, I did tell a little bit of a porcupine to Rachel just to make sure that she came on. I did say it was about witches tonight, but it's not. The actual topic and subject is dating back basically to paranormal activity. What I was going to base the show on was paranormal evidence. What have you seen? What have you come across? Did you believe what you've seen or heard or sensed or anything like that as well, or captured or someone shared? And that was my real take on the topic tonight. But, excuse me, as I always run and go with the flow, I just come across basically real life paranormal experiences. Tell me your real life paranormal life experiences as well, and what really shook you, got you drawn into things. And what I'm going to do now is paranormal activity has been logged. Now, this would be very, very surprising to a lot of knowledgeable people out there, and I don't think I've heard this really covered yet. A lot of paranormal activity was logged and dated back to virtually the day of man, basically, going back to the 2,000 years, basically, and even the Roman days as well. And then certain images and sightings and shadows and legends, I would suppose, that comes into then of certain areas that sightings were being seen, and then they were known as certain, like the Cinder Man and stuff like that. Has any of you ever had a local area where certain spirits or energies, or as you say, ghosts, are known as a certain lady or a figure walks here and goes through the realm and in and around a certain time of year? You know what I mean? Is it October? Or is there any sightings of people in the local villages give certain names to all these spiritual activities that go on as well? So I think a lot of stuff does get heightened with the Chinese whispers of things. So something of the story or the knowledge of anything like that gets added onto with other people's little twists and all that. But I was quite surprised when I look back and a lot of people back to even the Roman days, as I said, we're seeing dark matters. Have you seen dark matters or shadows? Inbox me, start giving me the questions, your dark shadows. These have been unexplainable for centuries. And, you know, really 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years, a lot of this has been going on and a lot of it has been unexplained, but there's been famous, which leads then into the famous ghost stories. And this is what I'm saying about the topic and the subject. It really bites home then. And this is where you start getting your ghost sightings of your local. Do you know of any? Type me, text me. If you want me to come in and around and get some of the team to investigate wherever you're based as well, let me know. And we'll see where we are. Right. Ricky's there. Ricky is part of the Black County Paranormal Nutters. So again, we've come across a few of them in our time, and our Rachel Covert is classed as one of them. She's a very intelligent lady, and she's very enthralled with the paranormal world and the witches of Eastwick. I think she likes the best. That's her favourite film, she said, and The Wizard of Oz. So, right, now back to the task. Inbox me any questions. And again, like I was saying, sightings of spirits is dating back to the Roman Empire. Now that is a lot of stories over the time, centuries, and everything else. Yeah, and you are and a nice bunch as well. And look forward to finding that out as well, Ricky. AD century, an old man with a long beard and rattling chains are haunting in a house. This was first logged back at the start on AD, really, basically. And this started off in Athens. And it was actually a writer, Lucian, and Pinsley, I think it was, wrote memorable stories of ghosts. And that is virtually 2,000 years ago. So again, that could be somebody's creative mind. But again, I think where a lot of this myths and legends come in with sightings over the years as well, you know, it certainly jumps through our centuries. And I think we talked about it and we mentioned it the other night, that about logging and collating all the evidence that we come across in one location. Should we have a main folder, a main file where we can store all this information, so we can have a back catalogue, not for people to know about, but when they've experienced something, they can go back up and check then, just to see if it ties in with something that they've experienced as well, because we never stop learning, do we? And that's what we like to do as well. Right, any questions? Again, it's the open mic hour, and we'll see where we're up to. Ghost stories. What's your ghost stories? What have you heard on the grapevine? I mean, I tell you what comes to light sometimes is how things catch the paranormal world's interest. Where I was with a team about 6 or 7 years ago, and then there was a virtual sighting virtually outside on a CCT camera, and within a few weeks word got out, and then everything grows, and then this place is like fully booked up with paranormal teams going there, and then it inspired, basically then it came about within a couple of weeks of people going there, that it was actually on the CCTV. It was actually like a misreported sighting, in a way that it was explained quite quickly when a lot of teams were going there, because the story come about that, you know, it was just somebody walking to the car park or something like that again, and that was quite in a local area. But sometimes how things can get misconstrued, and then people have just got to find out the answer, and that's always good, because that's what we're searching for. So when we get to the bottom of things, it's nice to get to the bottom of things, but sometimes everyone gets very overexcited with some type of new sighting coming up, with a little bit of evidence that's put out there as well, you know what I mean? So again, sometimes I always find it's good to take a step back, slow down, and see what's going on there in and around. Right, let's see what our Rachel's saying. Good evening, Matt. Read a good book recently about the ghost of old Mother Leakey and how her spirit outed a corrupt clergyman. Please do tell more. Sounds interesting, that as well. So again, a lot of people give me books and sightings or ghosts from like Cheshire and this, that, and the other as well. And I think over the time and decade, these stories, you know, they are collated and put in a book form, or they might be put in a film or whatever. But sometimes, again, we just got to keep exploring, haven't we? Got to keep exploring all these sightings. Ricky, what have you got? What's your question here now? And our lovely Karen, I think she's away this week. So again, I haven't got the link to share with you. If any of the moderators have got the link, please put it on. And if anyone wants to come on, you're more than welcome to join me and have a chat. Couple of thousand years, I think maybe it goes back further. Yeah, of course it does. It will go back further, but you think of documentation and the actual writing and recording would be like, where does the ink and the paper come in from them days as well, you know? So if the ink and the paper was around in the Roman days, I would safely say that they're the earliest types of your logs and documentation, isn't it? So at some point we need some type of documentation to certainly try and back up the stories as well. So again, what roughly happened then from the start of the century in AD is basically the first thing I heard about them was like an 850-year gap of something else, and that came around as a recording of the first poltergeist. So if you think around logging and storing information, it's like 856 years gone. The first poltergeist was virtually documented, and it was causing disturbances such as loud noises and objects as well, falling or being thrown around, which was reported in a farmhouse in Germany. The poltergeist tormented the family living there by throwing stones and also started fires, which is quite intriguing realistically, that it can physically, some type of activity can start fires as well. And again, and all other things had gone on as well. So again, there's like an 850-year gap with documentation. So this is what I'm saying about gaps and stuff like that with any evidence, you know what I mean? So what evidence have you really liked over the years? What pictures or what sightings or what EVPs do you think that you've gone really, yeah, that's done it for me, this has really got me hooked into this as well? So let's see. Good evening, Angelique, how are you? You had a really horrible experience when you was a youngster and caused so much grief and sleepless nights. It turned out here is a unmarked Stone Age burial plot in the woods or the house that backed onto. And again, you can have things where you've certainly got settlements that you've had war or you've had any upheaval of times going back. The land can actually be unsettled if there's any alterations or anything going on close by, because when you are putting houses that might just be 100 years old into that type of area, again, it can take time for a lot of things to settle back down as well, especially with new builds. We find that quite a lot with a lot of the house clearances we get called to. The first things we usually go through is there any building work going on, or is there any alterations? Because that unsettles the whole level of the land and the area around as well. So you can have a lot of unsettlement going on as well. So definitely I've been to a few battlefields. I've been to a few little walks and come across settlements and Druid times. Again, I always get drawn to them times as well, your 600s, your 800s, and things start coming through of a process where energies start hitting you when you're walking through the centuries and decades, just even into days walking around as well. So linking in and picking up on energies like that, it certainly get bombarded. Again, tell me more about your evidence. Tell me more about what really, really took to you. A lot of people, their first experiences was as a youngster. Again, because we're open-minded, we haven't got much to worry about in life, and your mind's just virtually a free open book to receive from spirit as well. So, excuse me. Rachel says, in 1645, in Minehead, you'll have to borrow it. Right, okay. So that's when that period was around in that book that she states that the ghost of old Mother Leahy, corrupt clergymen. So that again is 1640s. So 1645 again. So you're looking at 400 or 500 years with documentation. Let's see what's Ricky, you can imagine keeping a file on evidence for each location. Huge activity in the library. Yeah, the information gathered over time would be immense. It would be, and again, I think, I've opened a new topic and subject there where, again, I want to go to certain places. Again, a few places are owned by a national trust, and it's just a shame that you're thinking, I know there's so much history that wants to come and communicate and give us the information, and you're like, oh, just need to get in there, and see what's really going on. So turn the speaker on now. She might have a better sound as well. Forgot about that. Good evening, Tash. Hope you're well. How's things in hospital? Just popping in to say hi and good night, sweetie. No, you must stay. You're not allowed to go. I'm only joking. So any stories, anything that you've had in the past? You got disturbed by quarry blasting. Where was that, Angelique? Was that in up in Yorkshire way, or I think where we actually went Saturday night, there was a quarry and we picked up on an accident of a youngster that had slipped, and there was actually a tree buried in the youngster's memory. And there was also, I think, there was another person drowned in there as well, a gentleman. I think we had all that through, and that was about a mile or two away from the location that we was. Haunted Scouse, which one have we got? Good evening, and thank you for tuning in. We're just talking about documentation from paranormal activity dating back from day one, basically, and how certain stories and topics have been listed and dated. So the first evidence I've seen or come across about reading about was around the Roman emperor days, and basically moving up to about the turn of the century in when Christ was around, and then 856 year. So again, there's gaps. There's a lot of gaps again. So with documentation, we're talking about, again, the first poltergeist activity that I heard about was dated back to that farmhouse in 856 in Germany, where there was a lot of activity. See, good evening, Gemma. How are you? Gemma, you picked up some amazing things there Saturday night. I do think the gentleman that was in and around you as well. Hello, Chris. The better looking one. I'll ask which one's that. Is that the bald one or the one with I'm only joking. In Leeds. Right. Gemma, tell me more about your experience Saturday night. Tell me what your thoughts were. And there was definitely a difference in a period from centuries and decades of information coming through, wasn't there? I think, again, we dated stuff about 1645s, wasn't it, with one of the witches? And with a bit of transfiguration with the person there that was investigating on the night, it was virtually like you could see the witch at the stake, and then next time you looked, it was like all the skin had gone. So it was just like 1 minute you could see a face, and then next minute on the transfiguration, it was just like skull and bone. It was just like, it was a big shift. But I feel like that was the next day where the person that put this person on to be burnt came back to check that she was, virtually dead, basically. So I just feel like that was the time that I got a shift, where it was the next day, and what was left of her was just there. But that was quite shocking to see as well. Very strong, very powerful energy to see that. 1 minute you're seeing like a lady's face, and then next minute it was just a skull behind it, just popping in and out as well. Right, where are we going? Hello, Neil. How are you? Hope you're well. So, the better looking ones with the bald Garry, you know that. Well, I'm getting there now. I'm getting there. So, believe it or not, it's a number 12 on top. It's just I've got massive lights up above that just reflect. Right. Any questions? I'm also going to go into there's 3 in the UK. There's 3 frequently reported ghost sightings in England dating back to the 16th century. One of them being known as Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII and the mother of Queen Elizabeth I, was executed in the Tower of London in May 1536. Boleyn's ghost is varied at other locations, as well as a childhood home in Hever Castle, Kent. Is that right? Hever Castle in Kent as well. So the spirit of this energy of Anne Boleyn is being seen a few times, but in different locations within the UK. Now that's very interesting as well. But I am a big believer that spirits can jump in time and in thought. So when people are thinking about a spirit energy, if you're thinking about a great aunt or a family member or something like that, and somebody else is having quite a similar thought, I do feel at the same time that spirit energy can jump from like Italy, if someone's thinking about it in England, can like millisecond and just being around that person as well. So I am a big believer that energy can move that quick as well in and around the spirit world. Good evening, Thomas. How are you? Happy birthday for last week, Thomas. 21 again was you. Yes, it is nice to get out and about again. Fantastic investigation Saturday night at a private secret location. I'll go on to the second sighting as well. Right, okay. Gemma, Saturday was amazing. Your neck hurt a little bit for days. I do feel that there was somebody hung, which we come across as well, and there was a suicide, wasn't there, quite local to a bridge, which was quite close to the location. Bit of hostility from one of them, yeah, and when he got grabbed in the arm, I actually put that EVP of you being touched, I actually put that on my page, but as you was doing that, prior to you saying you're being touched, I think it was, that's when you was transfigurating as well. And you're doing the transfiguration with me, and I could see a moustache. It virtually looked like, I said it was like a Guy Fawkes goatee and beard at one point as well. So I do believe there was 2 men trying to transfigurate through you. I think one had a moustache, and I think the other had the goatee and the pointed beard down here at the tip as well. And that's when it grabbed your arm. And you said that automatically your heart was pounding and pumping as well. Definitely going back there again, and we'll see if we can get you all over here as well, and we'll have a night over here. Right, where are we going now? Where are we going? You'd like to come and talk about a few experiences. That's what it's all about. Again, you're learning as you're moving forwards. Didn't hear that. So... Right, okay, where are we? Sorry about that. I was just making sure that I was after a photograph, but it's gone off there now. Thank you, brother. And you're 22, are you, Thomas? At least Liverpool. Yeah, that was a good result for you and a good birthday. Right, America, in its own rich tradition of history, in the illustration of the founding fathers, one of the sightings in and around Benjamin Franklin in the late 19th century, Franklin's ghost is seen near the library in America's Physiological Society in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Some reports that obviously by his statue of Franklin in front of the society, it seems as if it's coming to life as well. So again, this is what I'm saying about this type of energy shift in and around, even around the statue. It looks like it's moving and dancing at certain times of the year. And a lot of people have had the sighting of Benjamin Franklin back to the early 19th century as well. And we'll move on to another subject with that as well. Hello, Lou. How are you? Good evening, Michelle. Just talking about certain energies and spirits that people have come across over the decades and their type of evidence that they've seen or come across, and documentation dating back to the Romans up to present day as well. Right, any questions? Right, Haunted Scouse. Put your link up on here as well for us, Chris, and then people can go and have a look at your YouTube page after the show is finished. Strange that you guys realise that you are being taken over or channeling. I think it was at Walton Hall recently. Yeah, he had no idea until reviews of the footage, and I saw myself walking in rooms and didn't remember being in. Definitely, again, a lot of shadows and spirit energies can come really close, mix and blend with your aura, and get a massive connection with your link in your mind as well. So you can get their mannerisms, their emotions, and what they're about as well. So when that happens, it's a very powerful thing, especially when you've got on footage as well, which there's so much stuff we've had over the years as well. It's just amazing. So I recommend you go over and watch Haunted Scouse's Walton Hall. I think I was there about 2 or 3 days before or after, which is local to me. So, right. Hi all. And again, thank you for all the moderators. Now, this is an amazing one. Now, when I mentioned this building, I did actually tweet Mr. Trump when he was in office, and I said, what's the chances of me getting over there to investigate and have a night in and around the White House in Washington, D.C. Yeah, it was tongue in cheek. Didn't get a reply, but hey-oh, if you don't try, you don't ask, you don't know, do you? Again, there's been figures there seen over the years, some non-political figures and some allegedly political figures. Abraham Lincoln, 16th president, was killed by an assassin's bullet back in 1865. Again, there's been sightings have seen of old presidents there as well. So you can imagine the old vaults or anything in there as well in this White House. There's got to be so much more to that place than what we know. You know what I mean? There's been lawyers seen there as well that's passed, and sightings as well of lawyers. And there's been congressmen from Illinois that wanders near. And there's been congressmen that's been seen walking around in form around the Springfield Capitol buildings and stuff like that. So there's a lot going on in and around there as well. And these are the places where we always get drawn to America, and people over in America always get drawn to wanting to come over into England as well. So, right, Thomas. What's the best experience you've had personally myself? I'm going to say it's actually a simplistic thing, Thomas, where you get a queue of spirits that want to cross over that are virtually trapped. So when you help them cross over to the light, and where you see, like, as you say in Ghost, you see the film and you see the white light going up to the stairway, basically, but just in the form of a white light opening up. And I reunited a young child with a family member. And that young child was very, 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 very struggling to listen to what I was asking it to do. Just follow the light, follow the light, follow the light. And basically, next thing I could see was an arm just at the top of the light from above, and the connection, when they made the connection of the young child, was actually connected back up with mother. It was virtually as if the young child turned around and just said thank you, and that just blew my mind away. It was just like, it was a wow moment. It was like so strong. It was just like, that's why I do what I do. And that's what gives me the inspiration to help any trapped spirits or energies that's in and around. It's them little things of like just a little thank you. It's just like, you can't buy that. You just can't buy that. It's not about the gratitude or anything like that. It's just about, that was amazing. That's what it's all about. That link, connection and the bond. But in the spiritual world, to connect somebody and reunite them was just like, I suppose it's, I would say it's like every spirit's dream, that they're not lost and they want to be around people that they want to be around, but they might not know what state they are in within the veils. Do you know what I mean? But to experience that, it's just like, yeah, that does it for me. That gives me the thumbs up, and that's what you enjoy about it. So when you get that type of scenario, it's just like, yeah. Paranormal experience. I think one of the most heightened ones was, I think he was actually there. Was you there in Mill Street Barracks, where we had the negative come through? Very weighted gentleman, and that was their thing. They were grave robbers from robbing parts and stuff like that. And the smaller guy was giving the bigger guy instructions as well. And I think we've had a few. And I think when Eddie virtually got taken over in East Drive, and the size of Eddie was like, he's going to swing for me in a minute, you know. And I think all the team virtually wanted to string me up that night, basically to get the white light energy out the road. So that was interesting as well. So we've had some quite daunting experiences as well. So where would you say your memorable time is, Thomas, and what you've seen and come across in and around the teams that you've seen? And, you know, I think Penryn Old Hall, that was an experience, a big 6-foot table with cast iron legs, and that was walking and following us and shuffling, and went up 2 flights of steps and followed us on command as well. And that took about 45 minutes, 50 minutes from the centre of the room to 8 to 10 foot where the steps were, and it followed me up on command as well. And I think it was on an angle as well at one point. And I think I put somebody on the table as well at one point to see if it would move, even with a weighted person on it. But there was certainly a lot of activity that night. Rachel, let's go on to Rachel. Just spoken to the husband and chatting with some of the lads who work in B&Q store, which is built on the site of an old pit. I find this quite a lot in and around like St Helens and stuff like that. There's a lot of pits in and around that area as well. And you're up in Wakefield, aren't you, area, Rach? Activity, set up cameras, the REM pods, and it's going nuts in there. 124 people died in 1 week at its worst. Yeah. I remember the night we went with Thomas, we went with Anubis, and we went to a pit in Wigan, and they had to go back there a week later, and I virtually had to spiritually open a spiritual doorway, but from below upwards, to relieve trap miners that spiritually trapped below. And I had to show them to follow me through this tunnel of light up to me, so I could then help them and release them and move them on as well, because that mine was sealed again. But we had some experiences where we were even on the live feed, and you could see the wheel and the pulley and all the framework, the steel framework of the wheel and the pulley for the cages and that. And on the live feed, it just looked like a lady in a dress had just fell off and just jumped to her death. She actually took her own life around that colliery as well. Where was it? I'm just trying to remember the name. Can't remember the name at the moment. Thomas, if you can remember the name, just put it down for us. And that was in Wigan, and that was an interesting place as well. But again, helping a lot of energies there. So again, you can feel the sorrow and the hardship around that. Right. Where are we up to? There's also been again in America, of queens and prime ministers, ladies around the White House as well, feeling the presence of Honest Abe, and during administration again of Franklin D. Roosevelt, through the times of the great upheaval and the war. There's been a lot of sightings there as well. I do believe in and around war. I picked the book up today and I just flicked through it, and it was a book about the century and what basically gone on every year throughout this century, the 19th century up till the millennium. And virtually after 2 or 3 pages, it was all war, death, politics, and that went on all the way through again. So I started having a little look at that, and then after about 4 or 5 pages, I just went, it's going to be the same all the way through. But again, there's a lot of famous people when they passed and present leaders and stuff like that, but it just seemed to have that theme. So sometimes what I do is I'll stop something when I'm doing something like that, is because you don't want to attract all the information of drawing them spirits energies towards you as well, to link and connect with you. So if you think you're picking up on your Vietnam War, the First World War, Second World War, your Crimean War, trouble in the Suez Canal. So sometimes you've got to take a step back from actually what you're reading, because it can open up stuff when you're working as well. So you can open up spiritually when you're not even thinking about it as well. So a day later, you might just get the thoughts again of the Suez Canal or Korean War, and then you start getting a lot of spirit energies come through like that, because you're thinking about the link, you're thinking about the connection, and you're looking at pictures, and a lot of spirit energies can come forward with that as well. And even watching things on TV, you get drawn to the energies of the location or the place or the building, and stuff like that can come flooding back at you as well spiritually. Right, where are we up to? Hello, Trouble. How are you, Janice? How's things with the lovely pink, beautiful ladies? A Night in Dana. Where are we? A Night in Dana. Mary Bell, she came through, and she was quite close to the hanging room, but that was a made-up hanging room, if I remember rightly. But she was quite full on, wasn't she? And that night, Louise, when I channeled her through you, and you was in trance, and when she started working with you, we knew she'd gone to the noose. And before you went to the noose, your face went purple, didn't it? And everyone in the room, that was, it was a low-level room as well, and everyone could see your face was purple. And that was a strong night. That was a very, very strong night. But again, getting to the knowledge of understanding the spirit and what they went through, and talking and communicating with them, we got to the bottom of that person's story. Again, Mary Bell, there was just so much went on there, wasn't there? And again, spirit's got their own take on what's gone on for them. So what's portrayed that we know of any history of any spiritual people that's been written about, we actually get to communicate with that person and find out what their take on it is as well. And that's another amazing thing. Right, Thomas. Jamaica Inn was good as well. We actually went into the attic in Jamaica Inn, and me and Thomas had a bit of a one-to-one spiritually, where we were both channeling at the same time, and the live feed camera went off and just flew across 2 or 3 foot away from us, trying to break the session as well. Again, we got to the bottom of the story, and Warwick Castle was nuts. East Drive's always difficult at sometimes. Pulled under the bed. Yes, you did. I think he was in the little room, wasn't you, Thomas? And his feet were being pulled. I think felt like there was a bit of a portal opening up that night as well. Newsham in the Bell Tower, the corridor in Bake Up Theatre, and you done the first time we also done trance. Ashley Colliery, that was it. Have a little Google of Ashley Colliery, folks. That was interesting. And loads of places you could name as well. Ashley Colliery, yeah, that was a good one. Newsham Park, always a blast. Good evening, Lee. How are you? Right, we're talking about spirits and documentation from the first sightings and people's experience of their paranormal activities or sensing and sightings and pictures and evidence and everything. So we've been going back to the Roman times up till a bit of present date as well, and how stuff has been documented. Again, the 17th century in the Civil War, the battlefield of Gettysburg as well. There's been a lot going on there as well, and that seems to come up all the time. World War One, sites in Gallipoli near Turkey, the Somme in northern France as well. There's, I'll actually let me show you something as well. The Somme. Talking about battlefields, I met up with a historian. Now, this is not, I'm going to repeat, not live. That is from France. So that is from a battlefield from the Second World War. Okay, but you pick up on a lot of energies in and around that as well. I always get drawn over that. Actually, I feel quite old already. I feel quite emotional, and I feel quite somber at the minute as well. So that's actually from Flanders. All right. So again, when I picked that up instantly, I just feel like I could cry my eyes out straight away with that. Can you remember much about what Mary Bell said to you, Louise? The Lion and Swan. Actually turned up in the Lion and Swan about 2 o'clock in Congleton. Must be 5 years ago now, easy. Nobody else in the room, and then the light started flickering. So done a live feed around the room, and the light was just going on and off, on and off. A lot of it to command, but it was doing its own thing as well. So that was bizarre, and that was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it started. I think that's room number 20. So if anyone wants to go the Lion and Swan, check out room 20. I do recommend it as well, and that's in Congleton. If anyone would like to have a haunted location, try that room out. That's very interesting as well. And we picked up on other spirits that's been there over time as well. Good evening, Janice. How are you? How's things? You can't remember much, to be honest. Okay. Well, we'll have to check on Gary Field's Raw Paranormal on YouTube, and we'll have a look at Dane in Prison. It would be on one of them. Right. So we're talking about the Somme, northern France, Gallipoli, First World War. A lot of these energies seem to be coming and coming right back in as well. Where are you drawn to? Where would you like to go over the next few months? What was your real sighting of seeing pictures of? Is it spirit? Isn't it spirit? Is it real? Is it not real? I don't mention that other word because I feel that whoever's took a picture or posted it or sent it and tried to give the documentation of evidence of what you take or make of this. And I always say to people, you've got to be there. You've got to be there to feel and sense, especially when people send you stuff. Again, it's all about what their take is on it at the time. I feel is the strongest documentation as well. Thomas. Right, okay. Now, I've had a lovely medium contact me over from Ireland the last 3 or 4 days, and some of the information that was shared between us is tied in with, a lot of past lives, but stuff as related to France as well. And I think this gentleman said that my initials in one past life was MJ. My initials were M and J as well. So let's see if we can get a bit more information out on that. You'll be in your elements in France and the area. Yes, because you've, I think if I rightly remember, Thomas, whereabouts did your mum live in France? What's that town? I would love it. Again, I see a lot of the farms and stuff like that. I'm just trying to remember the town that your mum was in. We actually stayed in a villa in France, and just trying. I think you could hold about 27 people in it, and I think there was only about 8 or 10 of us. But the other side of that building where no one was, that was eerie. That was eerie. And again, it was just, you know, had a lovely swimming pool and all that, but that was tucked up in the middle of a village, and that was a very eerie place as well. Good evening, Matt. How's things? When can we get into the house in France life? Just not going to recap on that, Thomas. Oh, telly's just come on. Don't know whether you can hear that. Nobody else in the house, and telly's just come on in the other room. Bizarre, that, isn't it? So we are coming up to 50 minutes nearly to the house in France life first. Yeah. Right, Thomas is saying the town. How's things, Matt? 5 minutes away, town in 5 minutes away in the car, but the house is in the nature reserve as well. Yeah, that's done me head in, but I know there's somebody after me attention, and to be honest, I'll ask them to push off and wait outside. I do live on my own. There's nobody else in the house. We're 47 minutes into the show as well. So I have saged the house yesterday as well. Garry looks like I'm having a moustache. Yeah, I've had the shave tonight. So again, let's see if there's anybody around. So I'm just seeing if there's anybody trying to come through. Much darker eyes this chap's got, hasn't he? Okay, I feel that this is a gentleman from Saturday night that we linked in with Gemma. Do you remember? I think he's trying to play games. All right, so I will work with this energy and we'll push it back later on. Yeah, definitely ignore the telly like it's nothing. Right, back to locations and sightings of known legends and stories from the past. The HMS Queen Mary cruise ship, built 1936, Cunard White Star Line. After serving in the British Royal Navy, the World War II, it's now in Long Beach, California. So again, drawn to stuff there. In 1967, there's also 50 ghosts reported, and Chief Engineer John Smith on the same location was a doomed British aircraft bow, the Corica. Again, so there's been, on top of where this HMS Queen Mary is, there's actually been a doomed British aircraft ship or carrier or bow or whatever. I'll have to find out a little bit more information on that as well. So on top of where this ship is based and tied up, there's actually been other stuff going on there as well. So this is where you get overlapping energies as well. Any more questions, folks? And Lou's done a screenshot. That's fantastic. I don't usually do any work while I'm on the live as well. All good, Matt. All good. Do you often find you end up having attachments, Garry? No, to be honest, because I'm a very big stickler in when I've been to somewhere or we've been working, investigating or communicating, that when I leave the property, I ask my spirit team and guide to help retain any energies when I come off 5 or 10 foot off the land or the property or the doorway from a building. I ask my energy to stay with me and whatever's been within the building, the property or the land or the area, to retain where it is as well. So I always haven't tried to have a understanding with spirits prior to going onto the location as well. So again, it's a bit of nice compromise, and it's a nice bit of respect. So I respect spirits to stay where they are, and I'll just get on with my business. So that's what I always try and do. So if you come across any attachments, have you felt anything overpowering with you, Rick? Haunted Scouts filming over the Whittle in the next few months. Garry, you need to get out with us somewhere. Yeah, that'd be good. Let me know. Again, I'll check my diary. Local's brilliant. Can't beat being local at the moment. It suits me down to the ground. So I'll definitely tie in. Just let me know and we'll try and get there. Really enjoyed Allerton Towers when we could get out from lockdown and get a bit of fresh air as well. That was good. I'm getting high-pitched noise coming in now as well. So again, I just do feel like somebody's after the attention. Sent it over. Cheers, Louise. I'll have a little look. Right, what's on? What's going on? Where are you up to? What have you come across this week? What have you been happy with? What haven't you been happy with? We've covered quite a bit tonight as well. But again, I definitely think I'm going to start when I go to a location, just keeping that pad for that location. I think I'm going to do that. Allerton Towers is awesome. The Orangery, very active with the Orangery as well. And you know, I have sent stuff to people on the Orangery photograph. Just looking for it now. The was actually where Chris is talking about. Oh, that, look at that one. There's my fave. Denby Asylum. I'm virtually running into that place. Obviously, that was years ago. Many moons ago. 2 seconds, folks. Obviously, they want to play up tonight. And again, we had an amazing EVP, but we'll have a little look at that photograph that Louise has sent over. And I'm just looking for that Allerton Hall that we was talking about. Ooh. Laptop's making noises now. Right. Where Chris is talking about Allerton Towers, they took that photograph right by the Orangery. And there were 6 of us there. We're all mashed up. We've got the cameras on a tripod. And then when you look at it now, virtually not moved, but I'll zoom in on that. Phil, the cameraman, is virtually see-through. Can you see? But the bag is behind him. So the bag is behind him on that. So that was bizarre. So I'd actually done some channeling there. Again, if you look at my hand, I've not moved, but them fingers aren't mine. Yeah, there's a watch on the same as me, and there's 2 watches there, but them fingers aren't mine. So that was right on top of Allerton Towers. Again, that was linked with the slave trade, so that's why they knocked the hall down as well. So Liverpool didn't want anything to do with it, anything that resembles that type of the history with that part of it as well. So do you know, Chris, what year that was taken down, Allerton Towers or Allerton Hall at the Gardens? It's just an outdoor place as well. Right. You once saw something which is he walked away from appearance, but requested it not to follow. Yeah, 3 or 4 days after that, but that was it. That's it. Your team, what happens again, if you ask your team, folks, your team should respond to you spiritually and work with you. Your team should push and repel things back as well, especially when it's at the request of you. So if you've asked nicely in the right, correct manner, I wish for this to stop, or, you know, I wish to bring lighter energies in, so you're not weighted down. Sometimes you can feel like there's a weighted energy around. I think I saged my vehicle this morning. I've saged the house this morning as well, and that was prior to going to work. But again, that's from the weekend. It's just trying to shake certain energies off where they can try and play games, but I'm not one for playing games. Do you know what I mean? Hello, did you get a mention? You certainly did, young man. I was just saying, when you had that was your phone, wasn't it, Phil, that took this? And you virtually sat there and the bag was behind you on that. And no one was moving. And actually look at the face in the cloud above at the back, which is quite bizarre. But again, that was... Oop. That was unreal. Them fingers aren't mine there. So again, quite unexplainable that. So I think Phil's hit the nail on the head with that as well, and you can vouch for all that as well, Phil. It's like we just done some trying to bring some the gentleman forward, hadn't we? There, that was a bit of a nasty piece of work. Carried the cane, so he was in the orangery doorway, wasn't he? But he wasn't saying many words. He played around for a couple of days and was watching us as well, and he wasn't very happy, was he, spiritually, because it was on his turf, it was on his manor what we're doing here. But again, it's some of the energies we come across. Look back and wonder how you did it alone and live. Wow, amazing picture. Again, and this is what it's about. All the 6 people that were there were in the photograph, because Phil had it on a tripod, put the timer on it, 30 seconds or whatever, come back round, but Phil was virtually see-through, so Phil wasn't moving. I wasn't moving, but it looked like my hand was, and I was sat there. I've got about 6 pictures on the go with that. So we took a few pictures, didn't we? And virtually a millisecond after it, there's no sky on that one, and that was like only a minute, a couple of seconds later. So all that cloud had changed and everything in the background. So I think Phil took about 6 pictures quite consecutively on that as well. Just going to go back up to Matt. Any more questions? And that's Phil's response. And Mandy actually seen the lady split second, millisecond walk across, and she's been quite... The 3 girls went off that night and they met a person that works on the land and the park, and they said that there's quite a sighting of this lady. And Mandy, as we were coming away, seen this lady out the corner of eye, and I don't think she's gone back on the footage yet. 100%, always use your spirit team, big time. Right, Allerton Towers, demolished in 1930s. Now known as the pub in the park, about 1 mile away. And there's also is there a community building there as well, Chris, in the middle? I've seen some green gates. I don't know what was behind it. I don't know whether it's like a community centre or whatever in the middle behind the orangery. Phil kept good company on the live. He did. He talks you through it anyway. That's good. Local walks are good, definitely. Nice to get out and about. And a lot of the local stuff, even like Eastham by me, in Eastham, you see the old turrets from the war right in the Mersey. So you're in the park, and as you're just turning around, they've had old bear pits from the 19th century when Eastham Ferry had it was quite a good Victorian trade, where a lot of the trade was coming in and they were bringing exotic animals. And when you're even walking around the park, dating back to the Second World War, you can see the old army, the gun turrets just sticking out the ground, watching the banks of the Mersey as well. So again, you've got to put your imagination to what's been there over the times as well, and the centuries. And we've had some amazing spirit energies there. So that might be one. Eastham, Chris, Eastham Ferry. Right, okay, so Haunted Scouts has put that, what it looked like as well in its time. Oh, there's a school goes there for activities as well, so they use that. And Thomas, any more questions? You don't beat our castles day out though. And remember when we was there in Carmarthen Castle, Thomas, and we stood on where Prince Wales was given the throne of the title of Prince of Wales, and me and you both said about, I think it was Prince Philip at the time, and we always said there and then that there was something more to come out and more to follow as well. I do believe I've got a lot more information from that time we went to Carmarthen Castle and stood on the spot where Prince Philip was Crown Prince of Wales as well. That was a strong day. That was a very good strong day. God, what was that, about 4 years ago now, Thomas? That was a while back, wasn't it? Right, folks, any other questions? Again, thanks for tuning in. So if you're off out anywhere, and you know, I'm not one for doing research, but have a little look at the places you go to. Is there any sightings that's been logged there? So what I'm trying to do is not put the process thought of putting that information in your mind. What I would like people to try and do when they go out there. So if there's been a lady like Eleanor, or there's been a Joseph scene, or what type of energy or what spirits have been in and around before, there's two ways to work in and around the location. It's either you can ask for new energies and spirits and knowledge to come forward and work with you, or you can ask the stronger energies that seems to be coming around and about a few more times as well. So I'm always a big believer, if you don't ask, you don't get. So what type of night that you are after, or type of energy and spirit that you're looking for, ask for that certain type of topic of spirit energy, and ask if you can have a change as well. So if you've had a break, ask for something else different to come through on the second phase or the next part of the investigation, or your walk around as well. So ask for different energies to work with you as well, but try it, test yourselves, push yourselves. It's always good to try experiments as well, you know what I mean? So push your boundaries as well, is what I'm saying. Aberystwyth Castle, I don't think I've had the honour of that one. It just shot up then when I was doing that. You also went round Aberystwyth Castle last August. Place is amazing, really active. Felt like a lady was following us around. Went to about 8 years ago. We went to Anglesey, went to Belmorris Castle. I think we'd done the jail as well. After that, we went and joined up with the English National Trust Castle just over the other side of North Wales there. And that was a very, very interesting castle. I can't remember the name of it now, but been to a couple of great halls as well in Anglesey. I think right next to the Menai Straits as well, right by the Menai Centre where the kids go, and that activities. But there's a National Hall building right next to it as well. So that was interesting as well. So some good times round and about there as well. So watch your YouTube, guys. Okay. 2 seconds, Lou. There you go, darling. Okay. Who have we got there? Brilliant as always, guys. We will catch up, inbox me. Get in touch. Definitely a few locations. Excellent. Sounds good to me. And again, sharing knowledge is what it's all about. Sharing information, just enjoying and experiencing what people are picking up on. walk around Chester tomorrow. You look forward to it. If you go around the walls, Thomas, go around the walls in Chester, and even in the daytime when I've done that, we've seen Spirit and taking the people watching on the live feed. We're just taking screenshots so you could see Spirits where I was describing who they were and where they were. You could actually, on the screenshots when the folks were sending them in, you could actually see the Spirits in broad daylight. So very, very strong city, Chester as well. Right, I'm going to sign off. We're on to an hour and 7-8 minutes. I am not too sure if there's a GF Uncensored Monday night because it's bank holiday, so it might be open mic hour next Thursday. Thanks for that, Phil. Phil's put the link on, as always. And again, Phil's done some amazing videos of video clips as well for me as well, which I always appreciate. He does a boss job. He does that. I need to win the lottery so I can get this lad paid. Always brilliant. Yeah, right. Cheers, Rach. Yeah, I got our Rachel. She said, "What's the topic tonight, Gary?" If you didn't tune in at the start, I said we're on witches, so she flew over straight away. So I hooked her in there prior to the show tonight. Thank you very much. Anybody needs anything, inbox me. Glad to help. Glad to share. Always nudging people in the right direction, and that's what it's all about. I put a picture on my page today or yesterday. It's actually in a triple-breasted house. Again, this was part of the Spencer family house, dating back from the 1700s. So it's been in the Spencer family about 1700s. Went there to do a house clearance about 6 years ago, and was openly greeted with the lovely family that live there today. And we had some amazing stories there. I think it was 1782 or 1792, the house dates back, but that is linked with the Spencer family. And that was up at Wigan Way as well. So that was just, have a little look at that picture on my page of that three-breasted house. It's just absolutely unbelievable place to go around and experience and have a communicate with the spirits that was there as well from over the periods. I'm going to say good night. Stay safe. Please have a fantastic bank holiday weekend coming up. Some great weather hopefully for you there, folks, and hopefully see you in and around doing some paranormal stuff somewhere. So stay tuned. Rachel says she's bored, so she's finished. She's gone. I think what it is, it's her bedtime because she was very hungover from Friday night when she had a bash. So I'm going to say good night. Stay safe. Loads of love and white light to everyone that needs it. Good night. And you have a good one. Janice, thanks for tuning in.